everyone, so today I'm finally back with another review, and today it's going to be on the One Drop Top Deck, which is JT Nichols' first signature yo-yo and also one of the first or one of the few 7075 models that One Drop has created to date, excluding other models like the GZR lineup and the Valor. And as always, I'll be going over 5 different sections of the yo-yo. I'll be going over the history, construction, trick handling, playability, as well as my personal opinions on the yo-yo. So let's get right into it. Alright, so now starting off with the history section of the review. As most of you might know, the Top Deck has inspirations from both the Summit as well as the Citizen in terms of play characteristics and design, and as well as the Cascade. JT Nichols wanted a pure performance sort of yo-yo while also not sacrificing the fun that yo-yos are meant to be. So he created this sort of shape and sort of sloping design into the yo-yo, and I'll get more into the design in the construction section. Yeah, prototyping for the Top Deck began about a year ago at the 2015 National Yo-Yo Contest is what I know of, and it's gone through at least two prototypes before this final stage right here. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, so now moving on to the construction section of the review. So as you can see right here, the Top Deck is constructed of a single 7075 aluminum block, and it has the words Top Deck laser engraved onto the front hub area, and it has this little dimple right here where the axle pokes out of. Now moving on to the specs. The diameter is 55.40 millimeters. The width is 43 millimeters. The gap width is 4.5 millimeters. The weight is 66 grams, so it's a fairly mid-weight sort of yo-yo. The response is a One Drop's flow groove response, and the bearing is also One Drop's 10 ball bearing, and the bearing is a flat type 2, as you can see right here. So now I want to talk about the sort of design language in the Top Deck. As you can see, the Top Deck has a really big and wide H shape. It fits really comfortably and nicely in the hand. My middle finger pretty much fits right here in the groove, and my other fingers are just sitting right here onto these large rims. So it's a really comfortable yo-yo to hold in your hand. You can see right here on the rims there sort of is a false groove. That's from the One Drop Cascade, and that's a design aesthetic that JT Nichols wanted on the Top Deck. And as well, as you can see right here in the inner hub design, there sort of is a circle to where you can sort of do finger spins. There's a outer lip sort of hub design right here that's to distribute the weight into the middle portion of the yo-yo, as well as more as well. Even and sort of very minimalistic sort of design in the yo-yo. Here into the response area, the response is sort of slightly tapered to where string won't be able to catch inside to the response as well. And now I have a few yo-yos to compare the Top Deck to. Here is a recessed first base. So as you can see, the diameter is a lot bigger on the first base because it is a plastic yo-yo. Here is the comparison in widths. The widths are pretty much identical, with the Top Deck being probably slightly wider, but overall it kind of has a sort of the same sloping sort of design. Here is a CYW Big Dipper, again because it's a plastic yo-yo, giving you a few yo-yos to compare it to in your collection if you're thinking about buying the Top Deck. Is the Shuta. So as I said in my last couple of reviews, the Shuta and the Shutter share the same exact specs. It's just the material that's different. So if you have a shutter at home, you can sort of compare the sizes. The Top Deck does seem a little bit wider, but in reality the shutter or the Shuta in the Top Deck are pretty much identical in terms of width, but the diameter, they're just a little bit different. They're almost exactly the same. So if you have a shutter at home, then the Top Deck is pretty much the same size in terms of width and as well as diameter. Another One Drop yo-yo, the One Drop Downbeat. So the widths are different, with the Top Deck being, not the Top Deck, but the Downbeat being just a little bit thinner, it seems like. I'm not too sure what the specs of the Downbeat are. The widths are pretty much identical as well. And here's another 7075 yo-yo, the Yo-Yo Recreation Sleipnir, the 2014 edition. So as you can see, this 7075 material that Yo-Yo Recreation uses is a lot glossier and shinier than the 7075 that One Drop uses. So the Sleipnir is bigger in diameter, but the Sleipnir and the top deck are pretty much the same in terms of width. Okay, so now moving on to the trick handling section of the review. This section, as always, I'll be going over 4 different sections of tricks that the yo-yo can handle, such as horizontal, speed, tech, and grinds. Now into the first subsection, which is speed. Now the top deck can move with grace and ease along the string. It can easily glide in between any element or any mouth that you could set your mind to. And it has a overall very light feeling when going through speed and stuff like that. Despite it being a pretty H or W shaped sort of yo-yo, and it's not really meant for the high stresses of speed, but it can move about pretty quickly if you want to do any railing combos or anything of that sort. Okay, and then with tech. Now because of the way that the top deck is sort of designed, sort of the weight distribution is really even and balanced, and played with such grace that it seems like each and every element and movement can be pretty swiftly done. And you know, in my sort of tech style, I find that the top deck can move really easily between mounts and stuff like that, and it can really respond very quickly. The other yo-yos that I can compare the top deck to would probably be the Dropner or probably other lighter bimetal yo-yos, not in the sense of design, in the sense of how quickly it reacts to my movements. Okay, and then now grinds. Now, some of you may think that because the material is 7075, it might not be that great for grinds, but actually it has a bead blasted finish, and it's pretty slick. So you can do pretty much any grinds you want. You can do finger grinds, thumb grinds, and I can even pull off horizontal finger spins, despite there being a pretty large, you know, imprint right here, engraving. But I can pretty much pull it off. But if you want to really do more finger spins, then you might want to go with the top deck version that doesn't have the engraving on it. And then now for horizontal. The top deck has a very balanced and even weight distribution, and usually yo-yos that have slightly more rim weight to it, it can better off or pull off horizontal a lot better because it can keep its plane. But the top deck can actually keep its plane really well, and most of that is due because of the, I would say a large amount of the top deck's weight is on the rims, but it's not too much to where as I said in the tech section, it could pretty much help out with tech or speed and stuff like that. But for horizontal, because it has these large rims, you can really just, you know, hold any sort of horizontals you can do. Other tricks such as lacerations and hooks, it has a really wide sort of gap and H shape. It's not exactly a V shape, but it can pretty much, you know, handle or just catch any whips or lacerations that you can do. Alright, so now moving on to the playability section. I find the top deck to be very balanced and overall have a very even weight distribution. And that's really part to how One Drop really placed the weight evenly in the center and as well as the rims of the yo-yo. So the top deck has a sort of solid feeling to it, but it plays overall quick, if that makes any sense to it. So basically when you give it a throw, it has a pretty solid feel to it, but once you actually start moving, you know, about string tricks and stuff like that, it'll actually start playing a little bit lighter than you initially might thought it would. Because of the weight, it's 66 grams, so it pretty much makes it perfect for any category of trick, as I said in the trick handling section. So the top deck has a pretty powerful spin, and you might not think that the top deck has a very powerful spin when initially looking at it, because it doesn't really seem like that there's a lot of weight distributed onto the rims. But actually, you know, again, to the way that the sort of yo-yo is designed and how the weight is evenly distributed among the yo-yo, it has a really powerful spin, and you can pretty much suit a variety of tricks. And naturally, because of the powerful spin, it has a really long spin time. You know, it's good for longer tech combos and for pretty much faster railing combos as well. Alright, so now moving on to the last section of the review, my personal opinions. So there isn't really much to say about the top deck in terms of like playability and feel and stuff like that. I find it to be a really compatible yo-yo with my personal sort of style, and I can really find it fitting a lot of other people's style as well. It's more suited towards like the tech type style and not really much towards speed. It can still be, you know, used for railing combos and whatnot, horizontal grinds, you know, lacerations. But personally, I find the top deck more suited towards slower and more, intricate and tech type players. The Top Deck is a really great competition yo-yo. You know, it pretty much has everything that you want in a competition yo-yo. Speed, agility, powerful spin, you know, stability, everything that you would want. And also it doesn't really sacrifice, you know, the fun in a yo-yo that you want. Because me personally, I found the Top Deck pretty fun to play with, you know, from day to day and stuff like that. Enough, the Top Deck has a really cool sound when you play and bind with it as well. And for me personally, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people who own the Top Deck as well, that's, you know, pretty much a bonus to the whole experience of, you know, owning the Top Deck or really just playing any other yo-yo. Alright everyone, so I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Thank you for being pretty patient with, you know, waiting for this review. You know, I've had a lot of stuff to do with my family. You know, usually Christmas time is a pretty hectic time for me and my family, so I kind of really didn't have, you know, much time really during the day to make any videos or stuff like that. So yeah, now that the year is winding down, I kind of just wanted to drop this video right before the year ended. I'm kind of recording this on the 29th, so I'm not really quite too sure, you know, when I'm gonna upload it. Hopefully when you're seeing this, it'll be literally before the year ends, like on the 31st or something, but yeah. So I wish you guys a happy new year, and you know, I hope you guys have any New Year's resolutions. Tell me in the comment sections down below, as well as if you have any questions, comments, criticisms, or concerns, post them in the comments down below, and I will try to get back to you as soon as I can. Yeah, I have a lot of plans for next year, and I hope you guys stick with me until then, and I hope you guys had a great year. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and thank you for sticking with me this long for my first year on YouTube. So yeah, and yeah, so hope you guys have a great time. Later.